Remember this? People inside a cafe. Normality is slowly returning, but there's no pretence that we're there yet. And it's queuing of an altogether different kind in Bolton that tells that story. These people want their vaccine now. Cases in their town are surging, driven by the seeding of the variant B.1.617.2, first detected in India. One key question that scientists are working furiously to answer is how well we can expect this variant to spread. A model by Sage has suggested it could be up to 50% more transmissible than the Kent variant that is currently dominant here. But the data are not yet completely clear. Figures from Public Health England show a clear difference in transmission between the so-called Kent and Indian variants among those with COVID who have travelled. It's about double. But among those not believed to have travelled, the picture is less clear. The estimates for the two variants overlap, and if the Indian variant has been more transmissible, it's nothing like doubly so. Scientists are frantically sequencing the variants. One bigger question is how representative are the cases of those who have arrived in the UK from India with the virus and passed it on? Are they typical, or could other social factors be relevant? One could be local vaccination levels. In the Commons today, the messaging from the Health Secretary was clear. If you're not vaccinated, you're at risk.
Just look at what's happening in Bolton Hospital, where the majority of people in hospital with coronavirus were eligible for the jab but have chosen not yet to have the jab and have ended up in hospital, some of them in intensive care.
We've got a very diverse and high areas of deprivation in Bolton. So, the area that of concern at present, which is the BL3 or lever edge area that you're describing, has many different languages spoken in it, many different cultural communities, and lots of deprivation. So there's lots of factors that filter into that. So if somebody is deprived, if they've not got the money for the bus to go for vaccine, if they've not got the money for credit for the phone to ring to book an appointment, if they've got to get on public transport and maybe they don't want to during COVID or have children to look after, all of these things are barriers to vaccination.
One thing that is becoming clearer is that the vaccines seem to be effective against the new variant.
All the evidence we have thus far is that they are excellent at protecting people from getting really sick with this virus. What we're less clear about, particularly with some of the new variants, is how much these people who are protected against getting sick can still be infected enough to produce enough virus to transmit to somebody else. That's the bit where the uncertainty is.
We're world leaders at screening for variants, and only today one health official I spoke to told me that they'd happened upon an altogether different variant locally, and there are thousands of them globally, but it's not automatically clear what each of them means, so we may well have to get used to living with this kind of uncertainty.
We have to be continually monitoring these things and looking for things that potentially have the attributes to be a problem. However, we have a vaccine that will probably hold, but taking the risk seriously and everyone losing their mind and catastrophizing every single variant that shows up as being the end of the world is not helpful either. At some point, we're going to have to trust the vaccines and maybe boost people who are particularly at risk.
Not everything is behaving quite as you'd expect right now. We're well trained in handling one unpredictable actor. In COVID and its variants, we have another.